Happy New Year from Liberty Today. On today's show, we'll meet a woman who could be South Dakota's next governor. Constitutional scholar Robert Brown answers the question, is there really such a thing as a limited constitutional convention? And Bertz and Randazzo offer thoughts on growing older and the new year. As Liberty Today starts now.
Some friends of ours, people who actually believe much the same things that those of us in the Life and Liberty group believe, are even promoting a constitutional convention. Their argument is that this would be a limited kind of meeting or a convention, and that the powers would really be limited. Robert Brown is a constitutional authority, a constitutional scholar, and you would beg to differ with them.
Well, absolutely. They always like to steer away from the term constitutional convention and refer to it as a convention of the states or an Article 5 convention or something like that.
Sounds good.
And that by doing so, they want to imply that a constitutional convention has all power to change anything in the Constitution. But this amendments convention they're promoting is much more limited. Yet they never really define those limits. Personally, I say that if we're claiming this is an Article 5 convention, let's look at Article 5 to see what limits it has.
That makes sense.
It actually lists two things that are limitations. The first one, right at the end of Article 5, says, provided that no amendment prior to the year 1808 shall affect Article 1, Section 9, Clauses 1 and 4, which had to do with the importation of slaves. So that one's expired. It's after 1808 now. That limitation's gone. The only other limitation that's listed is the ending of Article 5, which says, no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage, its equal vote, in the Senate. Now originally, before the 17th Amendment, every state had an equal vote, 2 votes in the U.S. Senate. The states would appoint their U.S. senators, and those U.S. senators, 2 for every state, was that equal suffrage. Now today, with the 17th Amendment, no state appoints their U.S. senators anymore, so no state has equal suffrage in the Senate. So that's no longer a problem either. That's no longer a limitation on what the amendment process can do.
So what would be the point?
Now what remains is the real question here. There's no other limit to what an amendments convention could do. An amendments convention was limited in those 2 regards, but both of those have expired. So now, is there anything in the Constitution that cannot be changed by the amendment process?
So you're saying this argument that some are making, that this is a limited Article 5 convention, are really not necessarily on the right track because there are no limits.
Right. They don't really define their terms constitutionally as where the limits come from. There are no constitutional limits still in place. Now their claim is that we can make there be limits. For example, the states can make an application with the amendment already proposed. But
so
that violates the Constitution as well.
Okay, so you're suggesting that it wouldn't even comply with the Constitution if there were a predetermined amendment?
Correct. If you read what Article 5 says, it says that the states can make an application and then the Congress shall call a convention for proposing amendments. What's the convention for? For proposing amendments. So if the states take it to themselves to propose those amendments and write them up beforehand, they're taking from that convention the power the Constitution gave them. That's usurpation.
Well, and even if they did that, Robert, the Congress would have really genuine authority under the Constitution to submit new, different, and other amendments, wouldn't they?
The convention would.
Yeah.
Yes. The convention, by the Constitution, is given the authority to propose amendments. So when they say, let's just call a convention for a balanced budget amendment and nothing else, well, the convention can talk about that balanced budget amendment and propose amendments of any other kind.
So it throws the barn door wide open.
It certainly does.
Even if these people who are well-intentioned, will assume that, make a proposal with one specific amendment,
right.
And you're suggesting even that violates the purpose of that part of the Constitution.
Certainly.
So,
the other concern is this, that Congress is the one that calls the convention. And let's just say that 20 states are doing a conservative balanced budget amendment proposal, And we have another 14 states that want something like repeal the Second Amendment. Well, that adds up to 34 states. That's 2/3 of the states. Congress could say 20 conservative and 14 liberal, adds up to enough states to call a convention. Now hash it out.
Yeah, now we have to trust those people with our future, our children's future, rather than trusting a document that's been proven by time that when we follow it, the Constitution is still the best formula for America.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching.